Hello, good morning, everyone. It's Bridget from the Art of Grace Publishing House, and I am joining you on Amazon Live, through Facebook, LinkedIn, and through the Binge TV network. And during the show, I would love for you to pop on over to our Amazon Live and follow our stories and follow our journey with the book. So today we're talking to authors from Intuitive Knowing Her Truth. And this is a wonderful collection of stories where women share how you can connect to your intuitive self and your true self and your true nature. We put together this book because we wanted people to learn from others how you can actually reconnect to your intuition and how it's possible. So pop on over to the Amazon Live link and you can purchase your copy over there. We're joined by three of the authors today. And the first, I would love to introduce her. She is I do have to look at this because I will get it wrong if I don't, a functional nutritional therapy practitioner. She hails from a regional town in New South Wales in Australia called Mudgee, where she runs a farm clinic. And I would like to welcome her, Sally Ann Kearns. Thank you for joining us today. It's beautiful to have you here. She faced many health obstacles in her life and actually created her business from her own health obstacles. Thanks for joining us, Sal.
Thank you. Excited. Any chance I can get to share the story and just share the power of nutrition and you know, I can talk about it for 2 years straight with underwater, just about.
Yeah, I really appreciate you joining us. And, you know, your story was one of the ones in the book that really touched me personally, because I've had health struggles and, you know, nutrition struggles for a long time. It's quite appropriate that you're here today. I ate something last night I probably shouldn't have, and have had, you know, sleepless night and issues this morning. And I think that it was like the universe saying to me, listen to me, listen to your body. So Sal, can you tell us a bit about the story that you share in the book to start with?
Yeah, absolutely. So for a big part of my life, I was very disconnected from myself, in the sense that you're just going through the motions in survival mode, as we all do. In a past life, I had a very successful career in real estate, but did too much, too many long hours, lots of stress, and really just didn't pay homage to what was going on in my body. I had lots of mental health concerns, was self-medicating a fair bit with too much alcohol, too much socializing, all the wrong foods, like just no connection, because I didn't know better. And then ultimately that all cascaded when I fell pregnant with my son, and this an autoimmune thing kind of re-triggered. And it made me go down a very deep rabbit hole on what is contributing to this, because none of the general practitioners could actually tell me what it was from, how to resolve it. And every time I had talked about food and gluten and whether or not I may or may not have a sensitivity, I was just laughed off. And this was only a few years ago. So although nutritional medicine and functional nutrition and functional integrated medicine has come a long way, we still don't seem to pay attention to the power of food and nutrient deficiencies in general. So what nutrient deficiencies can do is create an imbalance in the body. And so every single action that our digestive system has a cofactor of nutrients that's needed. And our soils since the 1960s have been so chronically depleted. I'm actually a regenerative farmer. I'm the custodian of some acreage here. We've got bees, organic chickens, and sheep. And I can pay homage now to what's going on on our farm with our animals at this point in time. And so ultimately I have been looking at that connection for human health, and now I'm looking into that connection to our animal health to ensure that our food sources are maximum nutrient dense. Why? Because we thrive, right? We feel good, we sleep well, our bowels are regular, we're going twice a day, we aren't having heart palpitations, we're not having fatigue, and you know, a lot of us are chronically dehydrated. We're not able to understand those cues from the body, whether that be anxiety or you know, spaciness, etc. Because of the conditions in our physical bodies, we've really left ourselves open to parasitic activity and dysbiosis in our gut, which really needs to be rebalanced. And in regenerative farming terms, if the conditions of the soil are phenomenal, then the animals get the right nutrient density and they don't have illness, right? So, and it's the same with us humans, but we're buying quick fast prepared food that has no nutrient density. So from clients, we've got a co-op here where there's 80 people now. A regenerative, organically method farmer produces paddock to plate food, and it has a huge variety picked the day before that it ends up in your basket. So these fruits and veggies last weeks without being refrigerated, and they're highly nutrient dense, right? So you know, you share your own story with the digestive upsets, and so that's just a clue that perhaps we need to bring things a little bit more into balance. And then you may not have that experience with that particular food going forward, but it's just a clue that the deeper healing needs to be done. So the book, when we connected and you graciously invited me to partake in that phenomenal experience, which I highly recommend for anyone. It's a soul journey into what you're actually here for, and to identify your purpose and really connect in with that in your heart of hearts, where you use that then as a line in the sand of, here's my chapter, it's out in the world, and then you go forth from there. And that's what it delivered for me. Around just conviction in what I'm talking about, and how strong this message is, and how important nutrition is, I believe, as a gateway to our spiritual and emotional connection with, you know, God, planet, universe, etc. And so all of a sudden we don't go from feeling like we're not part of something, but somehow integrated, and not only integrated with the beautiful women that I was able to share in the book with, but people like yourselves that are, you know, you're innovating, you're lit up, you know, and you're going from strength to strength. And it's just been so beautiful to watch some of the things that you've produced this year. I'm like, wow, woman, you do not stop, right? But you're aligned, you're congruent, you're so congruent with what you're doing, and it shows. And I feel like that's the message behind intuitive and knowing your truth, because when you know your truth, you find flow. You find flow in life. There's not as much resistance. It doesn't feel as hard. That even the emotional stuff that's going on underlying, you start to really look at your stuff and go, how am I dealing with that? How am I taking responsibility for your role in your own health? And I, you know, never in human history has there ever been a better time to feel empowered with your own self and your own body and your own immune system. So that's my focus, and that's my gift, and one of my abilities, alongside being in flow and being able to help people feel better. Like that's what lights me up. So yeah, I always love interviewing you, because I hardly have to talk. No, I'm sorry. I can't. I'm like,
answer my questions before I even ask them. Your intuition is so on point. I don't even have to talk. Sal, I did want to highlight that you did call your chapter, and I want to get it right, so I'm just going back to the page. Intuition plus nutrition equals ultimate vitality. When I first saw that, when you told me that was your chapter title, I was like, well, how could that? I don't actually get that. And I believe I'm very intuitive. But when you started to talk about just listen to your body, and I'll tell you exactly what happened to me last night. So my son said, I want to get Indian. So I no longer have butter chicken, because I have an allergy to dairy. And so I don't get butter chicken anymore, although it's my favorite ever. And I think it's most Western people's favorite ever Indian meal, because they often every Indian puts dairy into it. So I got this lamb korma. And, you know, no dairy. Yes, there's no dairy. There's no dairy. And I had that. And I had naan bread. I'm quite sure it must be the naan bread. But I'm like, I sit down after dinner and my stomach is expanding. And then it is hard as a rock. My heart starts racing about 2 hours later. And then my palms are sweating. And then I literally almost did not make it to the bathroom. And it's like, Bridget, your body is telling you that this is completely wrong for you. And then I'm thinking, yeah, Sally's coming on tomorrow. Of course it is. Like, you know, and the whole time I was ordering the Indian, and I'm thinking, I really shouldn't be eating this just in case, you know, like I'm thinking this to myself. And that's where the intuition comes in. You know, my body was telling me, my mind was even telling me before I'd eaten the food, this really isn't for you, Bridget. Don't have it, you know. And then I have it, and then all these indications come up, you know, the swelling of the stomach and the bloating of the stomach. But it was hard as a rock. And I swear to God, I looked in the mirror. I have put on weight, so I do have a bit of a tummy. But when I looked in the mirror, I looked like I was pregnant. It was so bloated. And then, you know, even after going to the toilet, and then throughout the night, I woke up 3 or 4 times with pains in my stomach. And it was like, Bridget, why did you do that? Why is it, Sal, do you think that, you know, I repetitively do this? I continue to go back to that pattern of, it won't hurt. It's just this one time. And I know that it's going to, you know, in my mind, I know, well, I think I know that it is going to be painful, or it is going to be uncomfortable, and I'm not going to enjoy that time period. And this is going to go on for the rest of today and, you know, perhaps even into tomorrow for me. Why is it do you think that people continue in that pattern?
It's a bit of a loaded question, because in some ways I think we're looking for that validation. And so initially it might just be, oh, I may or may not feel like that. It may have been Indian food. So then what happens is you go through this process where you start to validate your hypothesis, which is what we do in clinic, right? Looking at the intake forms, all the detail, and then validating the hypothesis. So you validated the hypothesis. You now know that if you have butter chicken from that restaurant, it's quite likely, lamb korma, butter chicken and lamb korma, actually, you've just confessed. So now we know that that's definitely the line in the sand. If you choose to do that again, which I don't feel that you will energetically, it's like, you know, now you're basically going to own that. But there might be other foods that you're still validating the hypothesis. So the question that it is self-sabotage, right? And so it's also being part of the family, right? It's wanting to be what we call normal, and just wanting to be able to be part of that family experience, because, you know, it's quite often you probably don't eat out that much. Your kids have asked and you're like, yeah, okay. It's like you're spoiling them, but you're wanting to be part of it. So there's lots of emotional stuff going on about that, around that event. And it's, you know, sometimes it's hard to say no. Sometimes it's hard to go, that actually isn't going to serve me right now. And I feel as though the journey of honoring that strengthens as time goes on. But you ultimately, working with a practitioner, we just shine a light on that, right? And so you knew you were going to chat to me today, and you're probably thinking, oh, tying in, and the heart racing might have been some MSG or something like that in there that's created that hyperactivity. So what I would say is, why do we keep doing it? It's a self-sabotage act. And we can all talk about it: coffee, alcohol, sugar. There are underlying nutritional deficiencies for, you know, alcoholism even, and that, you know, reoccurring sugar intake. So it's not just as simple as I won't do it. And so a lot of women come to me and they'll say, oh, I can't stop snacking, or I always feel like something's sweet after dinner. It's just a clue. You haven't got enough healthy fats in that last meal. So you're not satiated. You're looking for something sweet. There could be, again, like candida, some underlying dysbiosis. It loves sugar. And so it's like another living organism separate to you, inside you, telling you what to eat. So maybe not so much in the case of the family meal last night, but I guess the question is, how great does it feel in the past, when you may not have had that connection with yourself? Had you had that meal, you would have had all of those positive experiences anchored in, you know, kids being young, fun, not cooking, not having to wipe up. So you're actually present with your family at that moment in time, because you're not worried about, shit, what have I got in the oven? It's going to, you know, the potatoes are going to roast or whatever, or burn. So, you know, you're being present, you're anchoring into that moment. That's the experience that you're craving, not so much the lamb korma. I can give you a beautiful dairy-free butter chicken recipe. It's to die for, and it's definitely a go-to in our family. So I'll put a note to share that with you. But I guess it's not as complex as just, why do we do this? And no, I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going to drink, or I'm not going to have coffee, or I'm not going to have sugar. I feel like we need to unravel that emotional component, and that emotional stuff where you might go, I just want to be present with my kids, and this gives me an opportunity to do that. Fabulous. Where can we find another event where you can have that same experience with the family, but without the consequences?
Yeah. I really do like that. And I think that it, for me, it just cemented that, you know, that your intuition and your nutrition do equal ultimate vitality if you listen to your intuition. Yeah.
And it's a muscle, and right? It's not like we all, Well, okay. So here's a great example. Authoring a book. first chapter I wrote, I was like, it was the first version, I was like, ew, this is not me. Second version, I was like, no, that's way too sciencey. That's not who I am either. Third version, nailed it. And so as we exercise the muscle, now I would quite happily be like, you know what, eventually I would like to write my own book, and I will reach out to Bridget. But if something spoke to me again, I wouldn't feel the same level of reluctance or apprehension going through that process again. So just honoring our bodies, listening to those clues, thanking yourself as well. Like, how many times do we go, hey, thank you for giving me this bloating. Thank you, because you're actually really being able, thank you for communicating to me like this. It's a feedback loop. And if it was one of your staff and the staff did a really good job at telling you that that food wasn't right for you, you'd give it a pay rise. So honoring that and saying, thank you for letting me know that that food wasn't right for me. I will do better to avoid that in future. And just keep honoring. Ultimate vitality, right? And it doesn't happen overnight. I didn't, I had a heart attack, to take bread out of my diet and wheat. It was one of the first things that I struggled with. But breakfast was toast and Vegemite, lunch was a sandwich, and dinner was usually pasta or some form of refined carbohydrates. Switching over to whole foods and, thinking of different foods and lunch type foods or dinner type foods to have for breakfast was a real mental block for me, because we're Westerners. We have Weet-Bix, it's quick, it's easy, but there's no nutrient profile. So, and the more you honor this and the more you do it and the more you explore your own body and start to listen to those clues, it strengthens your intuition on all fronts. And that's why I feel that nutrition is the gateway to stuff that's way bigger. If you're wanting to go down that road, some people just don't want the digestive reactions. So it's getting to root cause.
Yeah, I think that's with your simple test that you give in the book, and you could probably talk people through that now too, is, it's something that I thought, how could you do this, when you started talking about it? And it's such a simple test, and I've done it with my boys, and we found things that do upset them, and that when they don't have them, they feel better. And I think that it's a really great tool to help people to actually see where they can connect that intuition with their body and their nutrition. And I think, if you'd like to share it, I'd love to hear about it.
Absolutely. So we ultimately all have a stress bucket, and the stress bucket can deal with so much at one point in time. So if your health is derailing, you want to try and pull some of those stresses out. So stresses, it could be finances, it could be, job loss, it could be relationships, somebody's unwell in your family. So all of a sudden the bucket's stacking. And then you throw food sensitivities into the mix, and it can be the thing that really breaks the camel's back. And instead of getting tickled by the feather with the food sensitivities, you'll just get smacked by a Mack truck. And that's when, we end up with chronic health issues. So we want to avoid the Mack truck. So what you can do is, before you're about to eat a food, and ideally in isolation, so you would try a banana as opposed to gluten-free banana bread, you would do the ingredients in isolation. You would take your pulse for 1 minute, and say, for example, that's 65. You would put the food in your mouth for 30 seconds. You would retake the pulse. And generally, if your pulse goes up more than 6, you don't have to swallow that food. You can spit it out if you feel that you might have a sensitivity to it. Then that's a no-go zone at this point in time, unless your blood type's O positive, in which case it's 4, goes up by 4. So what I'd say is you can play with this, and it's a really phenomenal tool just to isolate food sensitivities without spending thousands of dollars, and just starting to honor your body. And it's free, right? So just have a play with it. And so, so 1 minute pulse, food in mouth, 30 seconds, don't swallow it, spit it out, pulse again. If it goes up more than 6, then that's a no-go zone. And so the heavy hitters are usually wheat, dairy, some nuts, lots of legumes. Coconut can often be a bit of a trigger. And just play with it. Things that you'd normally gravitate to or quite often can't give up, sadly, they're the ones that you might want to play with.
Like the coffee. So and the Indian. So it's something that anybody can do that at home, and try it out. And if they find that they have these things and they want to dive deeper, they can do that with you.
100%. So I've just been working on more, I won't say a lifetime package, but basically really wanting, because we've got accommodation here and we've got other additional accommodation that we're building on the farm, and we really want people to disconnect from their environment and come into nature and start to reconnect. We've got beautiful, phenomenal experiences in Mudgee, lots of Indigenous history, etc. So I'm just putting together a woman package. I'm particularly interested in serving women that are showing up with mental health concerns. I can relate to it. I've been there. Anxiety and depression are a huge part of my passion, and just reconnecting in with gut health and vitamin and nutritional deficiencies to rebalance. So what I'm offering at the moment is a package with clients where we work until we get those results, money back guaranteed. And it's a process, because your body can only deal with one thing at a time, right? So your body has foundational priorities for healing, and we can't rush it. So therefore, I tried to put everything into an 8-week package and a 12-week package. And I think that's what everybody wants. They want a quick fix, but you know what? Your body's not prepared to do that. And so for me to be able to, with integrity and conviction, say, I'm going to help you. I'm really going to help you feel better, and we're going to get to the root cause of this. This is how I have to do it. And that's how I do it with honor. And I'd rather take on fewer clients but get amazing results than just do it wishy-washy. It's not who I am. So yeah, that's what I'm working on at the moment. And it's been a really fun process. So I'm excited.
It does sound exciting. It sounds like something I would love to do. So Adair has said she'd love to know more, a totally immersive experience in healthy living. Wow. And she also did mention that yesterday she took a plane flight and she ate a big fat caramel donutty thing. And today could feel the gunk bogging her down as she ate it. Note to self, listen to your intuition, which is so true, isn't it? I mean, we all do. I'm not sure if you do, Sally. Do you still pick things up and go, this is not right, I shouldn't be having this?
All the time. Yep. And it changes seasonally, and it changes based on parts of my cycle. It changes on what I've had going on that week. So I work with clients to create a bit of a toolkit on, we've got a lot going on at this point in time in my life. These are the things that I really need to incorporate into my nutrition to strengthen myself in those periods. So, book launch weeks and things like that, where, this is life, right? We've all chosen to have these magnificent journeys, but sometimes we overload ourselves and we say yes to too much. So we need to support ourselves at those times. So I always work with clients and saying at those times where the crap's hitting the fan, you need a toolkit, and out of your toolkit, you pull these tools that are appropriate at that point in time. And and it's got to work for you, right? That bio-individuality. So yes, absolutely. Often the veggies that go limp in the bottom of the fridge, the ones that you don't touch, they're the ones that you will often have a sensitivity to. So if that's beetroot or carrots, or you're just not vibing radishes or zucchini, just try Coco's pulse test it and see what the outcome is. If you want more instructions, it's in the book. And just have a play.
Yeah, that's it is a great little test, and it is in the book in Sally's chapter, Intuitive, Knowing Her Truth. And I implore you to jump over to Amazon and grab your copy of the book. Sally, thank you so much for joining me today. Is there anything that you would like to share that you haven't had opportunity to?
We're just getting back to self, right? So if we've learned anything over the last 18 months to 2 years, it's what's important to us, what can we strengthen, how do we become more resilient, and how do we have faith in our bodies so that when this happens again and again and again, we feel resilient, both physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And that's my purpose, to help people get there.
So good. I will be booking in for an immersive weekend. I do.
Beautiful.
Do it, and we have spoken about this time and time again, but I definitely will be doing it this time after last night's experience or today's experience. I know that my body is telling me to, learn more about it and go deeper within myself with that. Thank you so much for your time, Sally, and I shall speak to you again soon.
You're welcome.
So next up, we're going to be talking to the beautiful Marion Drew. Marion is a woman that is an inspiration to me. She actually experienced something similar to me in her lifetime, which was a fire that devastated her property. And the experience for her out of that was something that she shared in Intuitive Knowing Her Truth. And I think that it's opened her up to new realms of being in touch with her intuition, and I'm so glad to welcome her here today. Thank you for joining me, Marianne. And we've got it. There she is. Yes. Thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, thank you so much. It's such a privilege to be here and to be speaking to you and, yeah, talking to everyone.
Let me start by saying, you know, this was something that you had a little bit of apprehension about, and you're probably standing more in your true self now after doing it. Would that be true?
Yes, definitely. I think it was just part of my journey. I had been working on myself anyway, and realised I had a lot of past trauma, and, you know, I just wasn't being myself, and I was keeping everybody else happy. And yeah, doing this chapter in the book actually really brought out some stuff that I had hidden very, very deep, like inner child stuff. And you don't realise it. You play it out every day and you don't realise that you've hidden it down. So
yeah, and I believe that it is something that, you know, doesn't allow. I think that what happens is people think that the outside sources become who they are, and we allow that to happen. And then if we decide to listen to ourselves, it's you know, you're going against the norm, and then you feel like you don't fit in, and then you feel, you know, you have all these doubts about yourself. But having an incident occur, and it's like a catalyst for the change in your life, sort of catapults you into where you're supposed to be and who you're supposed to be. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's all part of your journey, I've realised. I just thought to myself, oh, you know, if I knew this stuff years ago, but it's all part of my journey and journey to growing and self-healing and to be my true self. You know, the fire was just the start of it, because probably back then I wasn't willing to be this open-minded about, you know, spirituality, you know, mindset, all of that stuff, you know, and that's when the triathlon come in and running, because that helped me get to where I am today as well, because I had fears of not being good enough or, you know, doing something different. You know, I was healing myself through that as well.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Tell us about what happened. You know, how did the fire start, and what happened at your property?
Pretty much that day, it was 2006, it was New Year's Day, very hot day, 45k winds, you know, 45 degrees. I actually had the intuition on that. I knew something was going to go wrong at 6 o'clock in the morning. I just knew. So I started walking down and all of that stuff. And then I think it was about midday or a bit after lunch that, we got the call that the fire had started at the jailbreak-in, and it was heading straight for us. And, yeah, so it all went from there. And, you know, I had 2 little kids, and, yeah, it was pretty full on. And the husband was away fighting the fire, so I had to do a lot on my own to, you know, save stock, save, you know, machinery. And I was and I didn't realise at the time that, you know, I was living on adrenaline. It had kicked in, and I probably had fears from my childhood, but I just did it anyway. But it was probably after the fire that, yeah, it sort of hit me like a ton of bricks, 12 months later. And I actually didn't talk about it straight away because I was told that I didn't lose much. Because we didn't lose our house, apparently we didn't lose anything. And that stuck in my head. So I just be quiet about it. And a few friends of mine did say to me that, you know, you're not right, what's up? And, yeah, it was just because I had to hold everything. You know, it doesn't matter how big your trauma is or what you go through. No one actually knows what you go through on that day. Like, we did a lot. I had to do a lot, and it was very stressful. But when you're in that moment, you just do what you got to do, and it's like you're sort of this high, and then you crash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you to cope with this, you started running.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
What did that? I can't. I couldn't imagine me running. I love going for a walk, and I do try to run sometimes. And I'm like, why do people enjoy this? Anyway, you started running, and what did that do for you, Marion? How did that feel?
It was really tough to start with because I couldn't run for shit, basically, to put it bluntly. But it did make me feel good. It made me feel like I was doing something. I sort of intuition and that kicked in there, like that I was healing myself. And I actually did go to talk to someone later on, and she said that's exactly what I was doing without realizing it. But it made me have a new focus and doing something that was out of my comfort zone that I never thought I could do, because I was always told that you're not an athlete, you haven't got the genes, you're too short, all of that. But I thought, no, I need this. I'm just going to do it anyway. So
and since then you've achieved a lot. You've done half marathons.
Yes.
Did you do a marathon as well?
Yeah, a couple of marathons, a lot of halves, and then I went into triathlon with smaller triathlons, and then doing half Ironmans, which I never thought I'd do because I couldn't swim. So I've had to learn to swim and do all of that at pretty much a late age in life. I didn't start swimming till I was about 37. So, and I turned 50 the other day. So it's not an easy skill to learn when you haven't done it. And I just had basic swim skills. I didn't do swim club. So, to learn all that, that was all part of the journey as well, on inner strength and resilience and not giving up. And it took me a while, but I got it there, and I loved it. Actually, achieving the half Ironmans was just so good. I just felt like a new person, that I can achieve stuff, and anyone can do this. Doesn't matter who you are. We're all fighting battles out there, but don't let anyone tell you can't do it and you haven't got the right body shape, or you can't, not fast enough. Of course you can do it. We're all runners. We're all athletes if we want to be.
Well, you inspired me the other day. I haven't ridden a push bike in over 30 years, and I'm 50 next year, and you inspired me. My son, my 12-year-old, is always saying, I wish you had a bike, Mum, and we could just go for a ride together. And he's probably been saying it for 2 years, and I purchased a bike the other day, and I'm starting to ride again. I didn't even know how to use the gears, Marion. I'm a 50-year-old woman and I didn't know how to use gears on bike. Because when we were kids, I mean, it'd be over 30 years since I've ridden a push bike, and I was really nervous. So I think that something that it's never too late is a really good thing that I got out of your story, but also that everybody is impacted by things in different ways, and we should never be judgmental of others in how they deal with or feel about a situation that occurs to them. I love how you said you knew something was up the morning that you woke up. Did you also know there was something up with you in the days, weeks, months after the fire, or did people externally see it before you did?
I didn't really. I knew I wasn't quite right, but weeks. I think what I did straight after the fire, I just actually pretend it didn't happen. I just was straight in. Get the place fixed up. Don't grieve. Don't cry. Don't go and get help. You're okay. And it's funny, a lady did come to the door and gave us all a leaflet about, if you need to talk to someone, here's a leaflet. This is who you can call. And I actually laughed at it and said, oh, no, I'm fine. Because as farmers, you have to be tough. You have to, you have to be resilient. You can't grieve. You can't show emotion. Well, that's what I thought. So 12 months later, I sort of had a crash, and that's when I just realised that, I have to get some help. And look, and I knew I was being judged. You have people judging all the time, and I think I had a couple of people say to me, you didn't lose much. But you tend not, that shuts you up. But me, I was people pleasing. I was not being my true self and stood up to that. But now that I've worked on myself, I just say what I feel and do what I like, and and feel good about it too. Yeah, it's been a very interesting journey, and probably it's only the last 3 years that I've really worked on myself and be my true self again, and not let society dictate what you say and do. And speak up.
Yeah, I really think that we have got some people viewing. I should mention that. Hi Nige, thank you for being with us. He has said, hi ladies, this is interesting. He's loving it. And Adair is saying that she is, wow, starting at 37. That's amazing. Well done, Marion. Total inspo. And Linda has joined us. Thank you for joining us, Linda. Linda is also an author herself with a solo book coming out later this year. Oh dear, my dogs. Sorry about that. The joys of modern technology. We get to do these things from locations all over the world, and you can purchase your book from all over the world on Amazon. The link is in the comments in both our Amazon Live and on our Facebook, LinkedIn, and through our networks that we're showing through all of those networks. You can read Marion's story in there. Marion, tell me, what is the one thing that you would like to share with people that allows them the opportunity to connect to their intuition?
Trust it, believe in yourself. And if you think it's wrong, it's not. Just really go on your intuition and know that you are good enough, and just trust, I think.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so important to trust yourself, and don't let those external factors impact your decision. Thank you so much for being with me, Marion. It's been a joy talking to you again, and I'm going to take you out for lunch when you're next in town so that we can have a celebration for your 50th birthday.
Oh, thank you, Bridget. That'll be lovely. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Marion, for joining us. It's been lovely talking to you. So the next lady that we're going to talk to lives in what I would call heaven on earth. I see her posts on Facebook, and she has no need to Photoshop things. It is a beautiful location she lives in Alaska. I'm not sure exactly where, but it is a beautiful location she lives in. A registered nurse for many years, and someone who contributed to our book with a beautiful story that I'm going to let her share. Welcome, Kristen. It's very nice to have you with me today. Kristen Mcdonald.
Hey.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Okay,
great.
Thank you so much for joining me, Kristen. Is it snowing or is it sunshine? How is Alaska at the moment?
We've had snow. It hasn't stuck so far, thank goodness. We're mid-40s today. The fall is a little bit cloudy, a little bit damp, not as beautiful as summer. We've lost our leaves, but it's still, we have the mountains, and I just go up the hill a bit and there's snow there, and I'll be able to cross-country ski soon. So.
Yeah, and that's one of my favorite activities in the whole entire world. So I can't wait until we can travel again and I get to go and visit you in Alaska and go cross-country skiing with
awesome.
you.
Definitely.
Kristen, tell me your story in the book. Would you share with the readers just a snapshot of what your story is about?
Well, I discussed the different traumas and situations I grew up with, just parents, stepfather with addictions and mental illness, mother with unresolved traumas that led to mental illness as well, and just a lot of difficult and crazy and frightening situations where I just learned to, take care of everyone else, keep the peace, and make the most of the situation. It gave me a sense of spirit. And we were very Catholic at that time. We went to church. I went to a Catholic school, but I had a different sense of religion and of spirit just being outside in nature. I could feel the presence that I couldn't necessarily feel in church. I loved the tradition and being with supportive people, but just going through so many traumas and not having the parents or that physical support with you, you do, I think many do find just the gentle nudges that's we all could sense if, we're mindful and open to it, and just being from a place where I couldn't reach for that support from the people I should be able to. I did find, just different things in nature and different nudges. Just I felt a loving presence that I couldn't see, basically. And that led to just following those intuitive nudges and going with the flow of things. I mean, oftentimes the way I was raised and what we would learn in school is, the path of least resistance is that of weakness, but it's really not. I mean, it's usually spirit nudging us to go with the flow, to go downstream, and we struggle trying to be a part of what others want us to be instead of just listening to our heart, listening to what truly fills our soul. And I found in my lifetime, when it was time to make a change, time to do things differently, all the right things fell into place, and I was able to make it happen with ease. Where when I tried to seek out a position, maybe from more of a place of ego, or it would be more prestigious, or the family would be proud of me, it didn't feel right, it didn't fall into place, it didn't work out. So just those kind of intuitive nudges, I'm learning more and more to just listen to that in my own journey, as I'm ever evolving soul, trying to be the best version of self.
Yeah. I love how you said that. Like you explained those external sources. When you tried to please others, when you tried to do what you thought was the right thing to do, it didn't feel right for you. And then when you started to do it, it just all happened with ease. That's how I feel about publishing. Like it's just like, it's easy. It doesn't, even when things go wrong, like we had an issue when we uploaded one of the books recently, and some grammatical things happened and formatting went all haywire. And even though I had to stay up till 1 o'clock fixing it, it was easy. It didn't feel hard to me. Like it wasn't like, oh my God, I have to do this thing. And I hadn't thought of that before. This is, it's a real good point to make for people who are watching and listen back on the replay, to know that when you do choose from that intuitive heart space, that gut feeling, that inner knowing, however you describe it, your intuition, it becomes easier.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So Kristen, tell us, what is it that you're up to now? What's happened in your world since you contributed to our beautiful book, Intuitive Knowing Her Truth?
Oh, yeah, that was a profound experience for somebody that's used to kind of hiding away and staying in the background. I would just wake up in panic. What have I done? What am I doing? Just taking that leap. And I'm a part of being intuitive and just following those nudges is I happened upon this awesome meditation group that has these phenomenal people. It's called Altar Call, but we have this psychotherapist in there, and she talked about how what we run from chases us. And, what I was running from was my past, what I'd been through, what I'd grown through. And that was causing me some anxiety and social anxiety in my present life. But when I embraced what I had been through and felt stronger for it, I'm finding my voice is getting stronger by the day. I'm, feeling more comfortable going. I mean, I was just in Los Angeles and actually drove in Los Angeles just a couple of weeks ago. And I'm being from Homer, Alaska, where there's 5,000 people, and driving in LA. I mean, it was nighttime, but still, that was scary. So just I've been taking a lot more risks and having a lot more fun with life, just feeling more confident, being, in my truth and not being ashamed of it. I think, from what I've experienced, when we undergo trauma of different varieties, if there's a perpetrator involved, we often take on the shame of that perpetrator, even though it doesn't belong to us. So I felt very ashamed of what had happened to me, even though I was a child and it had nothing to do with me. And just coming out and talking about that and how it affected some of the decisions I made as an adult, and realizing I have more work to do. This is just my life path. It's not that I'm a victim. I'll be stronger in the long run, and hopefully I can spread light and hope to others going through this as well. So that has been a big piece and a huge gift from the book.
Yeah. And I think that's, the catalyst for you is that you can see that now. Like you can really see that. I think you saying that's quite funny that you say that you were scared and you would hide in the background. You were afraid when you'd wake up in the morning thinking, what have you done? I remember when we had our interview online and you were like, is it today? Oh my gosh, I didn't even know it was today. I'm not ready. And you came onto the screen and you had your hair up and you were like, oh, do I look okay? I wasn't expecting this today. Yeah, it was I didn't actually know that you felt that way each day. I knew that you were shy, but I didn't know that it was actually, for you, it was quite a difficult thing to do. So well done to you, because I didn't pick up on that. Intuitive is available on Amazon. You can pop over there now and purchase your copy, and you can read all of Kristen's story along with all the other authors in the book. There are 28 amazing stories about intuition and how you can connect to yours. I think that for thousands of years, the women's stories have been hidden away and not shared enough. And I think it's really important that we learn the lessons from sharing our stories, just like Kristen has in being able to share her story. Kristen, what would you say to somebody who is thinking about sharing their story publicly? Now, I'm not saying through a multi-author book. It could be that way, could be through their own solo book, or it could be just that they start sharing it in public forums, whether they're speaking it or writing it. What would you say to somebody who's considering doing that?
I just think it's such an important part of our soul journey to have our story witnessed. I think that is really the only way we can heal from certain things, is to have it witnessed by another, not to have it buried within us, but to share and have validation and have the support. Just finding the place. There's so many of us that have gone through these things that, we're here to support each other. I mean, it's just being a part of this community of beautiful women that have written their pieces, and just the non-judgmental places that I've found since writing this book has been beautiful and amazing. And I would just say, go for it. You'll feel stronger, more confident. Maybe not overnight. It took me a couple of months to stop having the panic attacks. I feel so much better and so much stronger now than I did even 8 months ago at our last interview.
Tell me, Kristen, are you still nursing?
I am. So I'm still working for the hospital in Fairbanks that had given me a job back in 2000 and brought me up from Wisconsin. I feel very blessed to have that position. I'm also starting to train on the side in the afternoons as an esthetician, and that is so much fun. I'm just loving it. It just happened to fall in, with the flow of things. I would have never anticipated this coming into my life, but it's bringing me a lot of joy, and it's just so much fun to learn something new and something you enjoy, and helping people be the best versions of themselves in a different way. I mean, it's the nursing piece falls in nicely with the esthetician work. So I'm doing that. And I've also been training as a facilitator, a coach through that meditation group I had started back in May of 2020. So just helping, I'll be starting to help people through the program that Ryan Blair has started through that meditation group. It's a beautiful healing modality that helped me heal and continues to help me heal. So I'm really excited to be a part of that too. So huge changes for, I'm so excited by what my life is becoming. It's busy, it's fun, and I feel more solid in who I am now.
Oh, that's beautiful. Can you say that I couldn't quite understand what you said you were doing on your training in esthetician?
Esthetician, yes, at a day
Tell me about
spa, so
that.
doing facials and that sort of beauty
Oh,
treatments and such. And
yeah.
I'll be becoming certified in microneedling next month. So a lot of fun stuff. Yeah.
That's amazing. Oh, well done to you. And I love that you becoming a facilitator with that meditation group, because I think that you're such a calming, when I'm in your presence, it just feels like it's easy, and I feel calmer when I'm in your presence. It's beautiful. You have a beautiful energy around you that makes people feel comfortable. Like I can imagine having you nurse somebody. It would be a beautiful experience for them, because you have that presence and that energy about you. So thank you for being in Intuitive Knowing Her Truth. Is there anything that you would like to share that you haven't had the opportunity to?
Oh, I've just been taking so many risks, listening more and more to my intuition, just finding the space to silence your mind and finding out what does excite you. And, more as you make space, more things fall into that space that fill your spirit. So just to not be afraid. I mean, I'm just a common person, and I've had so many exciting experiences just since writing this book. I almost feel like Jim Carrey in that movie Yes Man, where he just starts doing whatever. It's like, yeah, sure, why not? But, the fear is, gone. I'll just do it. So.
Oh, that is beautiful. I love that. And I noticed that you've been on retreat a few times lately.
Yeah. And that retreat is with the meditation group. And one of them was a training to help facilitate what I've learned the past year. And this last one was just fun, just like sound healing and yoga. And
how beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, I highly recommend the group. They have folks in China and Netherlands and all over the place. So it's called Altar Call. It's helped me a lot. It's been a wonderful support.
Oh, that is wonderful. So you can pop the links into the comments, how people can get in touch with the meditation group, and when you start doing your, how do you say it again? Esthetician?
Yes, esthetician.
Esthetician work. When you start doing that, people can contact you through your networks, and that's I'm really proud of you, Kristen. It's amazing to see the growth that you've had, and just from being in a multi-author book, which people I really do encourage you to read Kristen's story. It is certainly an inspiration and something that is a beautiful story to read. I'm just looking at the comments. Nigel said, all of you are so inspirational. Thank you so much, Nigel. They are, and it is a beautiful book, one that I implore all women to read. Thanks so much for your time, Kristen. It's been lovely seeing you again, and let's stay in touch.
Yes, please.
Talk to you soon. So thank you everyone for watching us today and learning more about the authors and their stories in our beautiful book, Intuitive Knowing Her Truth. You can grab your copy on Amazon, and I am really pleased to say that her sister book is coming out next week on Tuesday, which will also be available on Amazon, and those authors will be coming up in the coming months to talk to you as well. So grab your copy, give us your reviews and let us know what you think, and join us next week when we talk to 3 more authors from the Intuitive Knowing Her Truth, and we get to go to I think we're going to Canada, the US and Australia next week. So it's wonderful to have authors internationally and to be able to talk to them all over the world. Thanks for having us today, and thanks to our producer Adair. It's been wonderful having the show again today. Talk to you all next week. Bye.